Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Am I audible? Okay, okay, fine. So I think I was hearing some echo, so that's why I was wondering. Anyway, so good afternoon and welcome to the last week of this course, The Joy of Computing Using Python. And I'm very happy that all of you have made it this far in the course. Like all of you have managed to watch week after week the videos and complete the assignment problems. So that's quite a good achievement. And by now, all of you would have gained some amount of experience of writing code in Python. So I believe this has been the first ever programming course that many of you took. And I hope it was a nice experience for all of you. So this was just an introductory course in programming. Programming is much more than what all of you have been introduced to. But this course is basically designed to give you a flavor of what programming is, and so that you can continue forward in your journey of programming and learn more and more new concepts in future advanced courses. So now you are significantly equipped with the tools required to write good pieces of code in Python. Okay, so since this is the last week, we discussed week 12 assignment questions last week itself, and next week you have the deadline for week 12, or I guess the deadline is already over nevertheless. So now the course is over and now you have just the final exam left. So for those of you who have registered for the final exam, you would have to give the final exam, and I hope all of you are preparing well for that. So my suggestion would be to write as much code as possible, because that is what gives you experience of writing and programming in Python. So this session we have a few questions which are largely programming based. So almost all of these questions are programming based, because that is what I want to all of you to focus on, programming. So what we will do is we will look at each of these programming quiz questions, as well as writing programs in the programming assignment questions. So this will basically help us revise some of the concepts we have learned in the previous weeks, and this will basically serve as a decent revision for all of you before you sit for the final exam. So the aim for today is to try and solve as many of these programming type questions. And if some questions remain, like I have a whole bunch of questions over here, some 20 programming quiz questions and about 6 programming assignment questions. So like 26 questions we have. So if we are not able to complete it in today's session, then we will have a session tomorrow as well at same time, 3 p.m. And if some questions are remaining, then we will look at those questions tomorrow as well. So before proceeding, for those of you who are new, let me share the link to the YouTube channel for this course. So this is the link to the YouTube channel for this course. And on this YouTube channel, you will find the recordings to all of the previous week's live programming sessions, live problem solving sessions. So if you have missed any of the previous live sessions, you can go ahead on this YouTube channel and watch all the previous videos. And each of these sessions are live streamed on YouTube as well. So if you are facing any issues in the Zoom meeting, then I suggest those people to go to YouTube and watch it on YouTube. So on YouTube, the streaming is perfectly fine, but sometimes what happens is that when many people join Zoom, sometimes some students face some issues regarding bandwidth and connectivity. So if you are facing some such connectivity issues, then I would suggest that you go ahead on the YouTube channel and watch the live streaming on YouTube. Okay, so with that out of the way, let us get started. So the first question for today. So all these questions are basically you have to predict the output of the code or you have to select the correct piece of code for the given task. So let me start the poll. And we will try each of these questions in Python. So I have launched the poll. And once all of you attempt it, then we will go Spider and write this piece of code. So all of you take about a minute to answer. Okay, so let me discuss the answer. Let me stop the poll and let me share the results of the poll as well. Okay, so most of you have selected. Okay, so let me stop sharing the result. And what we will do is, let us go to Spider and let us type this piece of code. Okay, wait, let me start a new file. Okay, so I'll just write that piece of code over here. Okay, let us run this. See, the output is practice makes man perfect, full stop, the. So the correct option is, if we go back to our question, the correct option is option C. And most of you selected option D, which is not correct. Option C is correct. Okay. So you might be thinking that this sort function is over here. So why is practice coming before makes? Like alphabetically, if we see, then M comes and then P comes after M, N, O, P. So that way, if you think alphabetically, P comes after N. So why is practice coming over here? That's because this practice has capital P. Capital letters come before small letters. So what we have is, we have A, B, C up until Z, and then we have small letters. So this is how the sorting is. This is how the alphabets are arranged for Python. So if you go back to our Python screen, if instead of capital, if I make this small, then you see it is makes man perfect, practice the way you would expect normally. Okay, if someone has a question, please unmute and ask, but if you don't have question, please mute yourself. Kavya, if you don't have a question, could you please mute yourself? Okay. So that's the difference, whether you put capital letters or small letter. So if I keep capital once again, you see capital letter comes first. So that is the sequence. And if I make it small, then this is the output. So you have to be careful whether it is capital letter or small letter. Okay, let's come back.
Radhika,
Yes.
actually, here it checks C, makes and man.
Hmm.
So M-A-K, M-A-N. So it takes the third letter also, it checks for the word and then makes the order.
Yes, yes. So sorting is done. So whenever you do sort, you first check the first character. If that is same, you move to the second character. If that is same, you move to the third character, so on and so forth. Just like in a normal dictionary. So if you look at normal English language dictionary, let's say Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. So how do you find some word in the dictionary? You start with the first letter. If that is the same, then you move to the second letter, then the third letter, so on and so forth. So that is how sorting also works.
The capital letters alone, it will come first.
Yes. So, but you have to be careful in the ordering of the capital and small letters. So first character, the capital letters come first. So if you have, let's say, capital A and small a, then capital A will come first. This will come first and small a will come second. Means after that. Actually, not after that. After entire capital Z is done, then small letters will start. So this is the sequence. You have to be careful what sequence you are looking at. So this is the sequence. So first all the capital A, B, C, D up until Z, then all the small A, B, C, D up until Z. So that's why this practice is coming here first.
And if it is reverse sort, it will be the opposite, right?
Yes, if it is reverse, then it will start with small z up until small a, then capital Z, and last would be capital A.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was a little bit of a trick question. So most of you got tricked in this. So you have to be careful. It's like English language sorting only, but here small letters and capital letters are taken differently. Okay, so we will proceed to the next question. Let me relaunch the poll. Next question. What should the code be to print all even numbers between 1 to 10, both inclusive? I expect all of you should get this one right. Okay, some people are writing answers in the chat box. So I would say that please answer in the poll itself. Okay, so let me stop the poll. So most of you got it correct. Let me share the results of the poll as well. So most of you got it correct. The correct option is C. Now, for those of you who did not understand, let me tell you the difference. Now, when we have just range 10, okay, so let me write down the command for, means the syntax for range function. Range n, if you do, then the output is 0, 1, 2, so on and so forth up until n minus 1. So if you want to have both 1 and 10 inclusive, and and then the other way of using range is you give the start point, you give the end point. Then what it does, it gives start plus 1, start plus 2, and up until end minus 1. Sorry, let me rewrite. Last would be end minus 1. This is how it works. And another way is, third way, range, start, end, and step size. These are three ways. But important thing is, it always stops at 1 less than the ending value. So if you just give n, it stops at 1 less than n. If you give end, it stops at end minus 1. So if I want 10 to be inclusive, then I cannot have range 10. This will not be, because this will stop at 9. So I need to have end point as 11. And if I just give 11, then it starts from 0 to 10. But I don't want 0. I want my starting value to be from 1. So this will also not work. That's why this will work. It starts from 1 and stops at 11 minus 1, which is 10. So this is the reason why option C is correct. So let us now see it in Spider for ourselves. So we have a for loop. Okay, let's run this. See, it prints all the even numbers from between 1 and 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. 10 is also inclusive. So this is the correct way. Let us come back. Yeah, so I see many of you are answering in the chat box. So it's good that all of you people are trying to attempt, but I would request that all of you try to answer in the poll itself. Okay, let's move to the next question. What will be the output of the following piece of code? So today's session, because it is last week, it is revision session. So all the questions are code based questions. Okay, let me stop the poll now. So most of you got it correct. The correct option is option A. Sorted list containing random elements between 0 to 10 in descending order. Now, if you look at these two lines over here, this is doing the sorting in reverse order. And if you want, you can combine this in one line itself. You can simply write L dot sort reverse equal to true. If you like write this, then these two lines will be combined in just one line. This will do the sorting in reverse order. And this random dot randint is doing the selection of random numbers between 0 and 10. So no, in this random dot randint, it selects both the first and the last number. So Smita is writing some answer in the chat box. So Smita, for random function, it is inclusive of both the starting and end point. So if it is written random.randint 0, 10, that it includes both 0 as well as 10. So let us see it in Spider. So this week, see you all these questions will help you revise all the previous questions. So we have seen loops, we have seen now we are seeing random module, we have seen lists. So all these are important concepts. Okay, let's run this. See, so we are seeing all these random numbers between 0 and 10. So 10 is also inclusive. So I think someone had a doubt and wrote in the chat box. So see that endpoint is included in the random module. So when you write range function, then endpoint is not included. When you do indexing with lists, then endpoint is not included. But when you use the random module, then the endpoint is included. So let us run this once more. See, a different set of random numbers. See, 0 is also there over here and 10 is also there. So both 0 and 10 are inclusive. And as I said, we can combine this in one line. So let me do that for you. And let me show it to you that indeed we can do this. See, it has sorted in reverse order. And this you can... Yes?
Radhika, one doubt I have. See, in case of strings, you need to assign that sort, right? What to say? If you put string here, in case of instead of number, if we assign like if you sort it, will it? We need to assign to one more variable, or like just like that we can do this sorting and printing.
Okay, let me go step by step. Let's say what you have the question. Let's say I have this string. And now what you want to do, sort this.
Yeah. No, you need to have one or two.
So this will I give you error because string object has no sorting. Okay. So if you do this also, I think it will show you error because string itself has no attribute sort. So you need to convert this into a list first. So you need to this. And now this. And oh, I need to print it. So now it will separate it into different characters and then it will sort. Okay.
Okay.
So string has no attribute sort. That is the problem. So only lists can be sorted. So if you have string, then you first convert it into a list and then you sort it.
Yeah.
Okay, good question. Let us move on. So yeah, this is the aim of this week, that we revise as many concepts as possible. What will be the pattern of exam, someone is asking. Okay, so I think you would have received, those of you who have registered for the exam, you would have received some email from the NPTEL section regarding examinations. So please go through that email. NPTEL, I think all of you would have received emails. Then there is, I think probably there is some announcement in the course website as well. But exam will be more or less like the assignments that you have been solving. So you will have like MCQ questions, true false type questions, multiple choice correct type questions, as well as writing the code. So all these weeks you have this kind of pattern, right? You have a few MCQ type questions and a few programming assignment type questions. So it will test both. So since this is a programming course, the aim is to make you people write programs. So it will not be just MCQ. It will also involve writing programs. Okay, and please pay attention to all the emails that you receive from NPTEL, because since exams are close, all the guidelines will be sent to you by email. Okay, so we have the next question. Let me start the poll. Okay, so this was simple. Let me stop the poll. The correct option is option B. That's because this range function has the argument 3, so this has 0, 1 and 2. So it will print V word here. The elements in the list at index 0, index 1 and index 2. So this is the correct option. So someone is asking what will be weightage of MCQ and programming in exam. So I am not really aware of the weightage that will be there. So up until now, you are having 10 questions of MCQ, 3 questions of programming. But I'm not sure whether this would be the weightage for the final exam or not. So I would suggest that you please go through the emails that are sent, and whatever is the case, even MCQ questions require you to understand programming, like these questions predicting the output of codes. So these kind of questions also require you to know like some amount of programming. You can't bypass programming. So whether it is MCQ or whether it is writing programs, it shouldn't be really that different. Okay, let us write it in Python. So this was simple. So see, this revises indexing. So this is how you index elements in from a list by the use of square brackets. So if we run it, we see we were here. This is the output. Okay, so moving on. What will be the value of list L? So we have initialized the list L to an empty list, and then we are appending some elements to it. So we want to figure out what will be the final value of list L, final elements in the list L. So all of you, please try to attempt the poll. Okay, so as most of you got it right, the correct option is indeed D. Even, odd, even, odd, even. This is the correct option. So let us run it in Python. So here you are basically revising if else condition. And then we finally need to print it. See, as we had selected, it is even, odd, even, odd, even. This is the correct answer. Okay, someone is asking about recording of this session. So, Pradyumna, I had mentioned in the beginning of this session that each of these sessions every session is live streamed on the YouTube channel. And here, once again, I'm providing the link to the YouTube channel in the chat box. So this is the channel where each of these programming sessions, live problem solving sessions are live streamed, and not just live streamed, they stay on that YouTube channel forever. So you can also access the previous week's programming session recordings on that channel. So if you go to the channel, you will find all the 12 weeks live problem solving sessions, right from week 1 to week 12. So in case you have missed some session, or if you have not watched any of those sessions, you can go ahead on the YouTube channel and watch it. So that's the link for you. Okay, so let us proceed. Moving on to the next question. So here we are basically seeing how we use the while loop as well as nested if else conditions. So we can write if else within an if else. So that is what is called nesting of if else conditions. And also we are seeing how to take input from the user. So these are the concepts that we are revising in this question. So please take a few more seconds to answer. Okay, so let me stop the poll. The correct option is option A, as most of you rightly selected. This checks whether A is divisible by B or not. And how we are checking the divisibility is by this line. So A modulo B, what this modulo operator does is it gives you the remainder of the division operation. So if the remainder of the division operation is 0, that means it is divisible by that number. So let us try writing this piece of code in Python. Okay, there is some question in the chat box. Let me first see that. What is the meaning for while one? Oh, very good question. So this while one means this is an infinite loop. Okay. So infinite loop can be written in two ways. You can either write while one or you can write while true. Because in Boolean logic, true is 1. So this is an infinite loop. Now, if it is an infinite loop, then it will keep on running forever. It will not stop. But then how do we come out of this infinite loop? Like, we do want some result at some point of time. We don't want it to start our program and let it run till eternity. We want it to come out of that infinite loop at some point of time. Then we do that through these break conditions. So we see these are break conditions. So whenever these if conditions are met and whenever we encounter these break statements, then it comes out of this infinite loop. So that's the role of this break statement. Okay. So, and all of you who are asking questions, like by sending direct messages to me, there is nothing secret or private over here. You can directly write in the chat box and send it to everyone. So while I am teaching, someone else might also give some of their inputs, and some of the other students might also have some similar questions that you are having. So it is a good idea to post your questions in the chat box to everyone and not just like a private direct message to me. Okay, so I hope this while loop is clear. There is another question. Ma'am, will the exam pattern be similar to that of the assignment and quiz? So, as I mentioned, it will be like a mix of MCQ questions and programming assignment questions. And the kind of questions that we are having a look at right now, these are the type of questions that you will get in your exam. And for further details as to like weightage and all those details, like what the exact format will be and all those things, please pay attention to the emails that you received from NPTEL, and also keep an eye on the announcement section of the course web page. So these are the two places that you should keep track of for all exam related queries. Okay, so let us write this piece of code in Spider. Okay, someone is asking another question. If we have infinite loop in the options, so we will select that option, ma'am. I did not understand this question. So Gayatri, could you please unmute yourself and explain this question to me?
Yes, madam. If in case, if we are going to observe in the options, we did not have infinitive loop. As I said, while followed by if the condition is one not true, it becomes an infinitive loop. But if we are going to observe in the options, just they ask you how that program is going to be evaluated. If A is divisible by B or B is divisible by A, something what we are doing within that code only they have asked. What is the output they did not ask, I think so.
Oh, so you want to say if there is an option E, infinite loop.
No. My question is, if in case in the examination, if I have a option infinitive loop.
So yeah, so you are trying to say if this is my question, if I have like these 5 options, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then also the correct option will be option A. Why? Why I say so is, see, we want to know the overall task performed by the code. We don't want to know each individual line what that is doing. If I say an option F, that this piece of code takes input from user. Yes, indeed, it takes input from user. At this first line and this second line, it takes input from the user. But that this option does not capture the entire essence of this piece of code. The essence of this piece of code is checking divisibility by this line. Okay, this is the essence. It checks for divisibility. If it is divisible, it prints this statement and then it comes out of the loop by the break statement. So this is the essence of this piece of code, okay? And then it keeps on asking you to enter more and more numbers to check for divisibility of those numbers as well. So this is the essence of this code. If the option is this code, it runs into an infinite loop, well, we do encounter this break statement. So though it starts as an infinite loop, it breaks after a few steps. It will run as long as we meet this break command. So when we meet this break command, it will come out of that infinite loop. If I had something like just while 1 print 1, okay, if I had just this, then this is an infinite loop. It will keep on printing 1 forever until you manually shut down your spider and close the program. So this, if you have, oh sorry, where did my pen go? What did I do? Yeah. So if you have this piece of code, then the correct option will be infinite loop. But here the essence is not the infinite loop. The essence is to check the divisibility. So even though if you have all these extra options like infinite loop, take input from user and stuff like that, the correct option will still be option A. I hope this clarifies your question. Okay, so Gayatri, I think this was your question. So let us write it in Python. Okay, so this typecasting into an int is important because by default, when you take input from the user, it is stored as a string. So you need to do this type conversion by using the int function. Okay, so while I am writing this piece of code, I have a small request for all of you. So this is our last week, okay? Today is our last session. And tomorrow we will continue if there are questions left. So we have 26 questions planned for this revision week. And we are at question number 6 right now. So if questions are remaining, we will continue tomorrow as well at 3 p.m. So 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Same time tomorrow. Once again we will meet. If some questions are left, which I think would be left, because still we are at question number 6 and we are almost at the 1 hour mark. And also those of you who are joining for the first time, and those of you who have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, my request is please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. It simply motivates me to work harder and make better questions and better videos for all of you, and to improve my teaching skills. So it would be nice if you would subscribe to the channel. That would just boost my motivation a bit. And every semester I teach some NPTEL course. So last year I taught a machine learning NPTEL course, mathematics of machine learning. So it had concepts and linear algebra and stuff like that. This time I'm teaching programming in Python. So we might end up meeting next semester as well if we have a common course. Okay, so this is the code. Let us run it. So enter the number 1. So let us enter 10. Enter number 2. Let's enter 5. So obviously 10 is divisible by 5. 5 into 2 is 10. So that's why it gives this print statement wow and exits the code because of this break statement. Now let us try once again. This time let me enter once again 10. But instead of 5, let me enter 3. So 10 is not divisible by 3. That's why it is entering this else statement, and it is asking me if I want to continue or not. So if I say press 0, then that means I do not want to continue. So it will come out. So it encounters this break statement and comes out. Okay, let us run once again. Enter the number. Let me enter 10. Enter number 2, 3 again. And again 10 is not divisible by 3. So it asks if I want to continue or not. This time let's say I want to continue. So enter second number again. Let me enter 4. Again it asks me because 10 is not divisible by 4 as well. Let me enter once again. This time let me enter 5. And then it says wow because 10 is divisible by 5. It prints wow and then encounters this break statement and comes out of it. Comes out of this infinite loop. Okay, so this was the question. Okay, someone is asking me what course would you suggest to take after this course? Okay, good question. Now this was a very introductory course to programming in Python, and although I did not learn Python from this course, but I really wished that this should have been my first course into programming, especially for Python. And whoever comes to me asking for suggestions and feedback regarding all the material available right now, I always suggest them to take this course as their first course into programming. Now, this is the first introductory course. After this, it depends on what you want to do with Python. Do you want to do scientific computing, like research work? For me, I use Python for my research work. So all my research-based simulations or testing my theories, testing my calculations, for that purpose, I use Python. So I look at stuff which is like research-based simulations. Some people prefer using Python to make some sort of animations, like animating stuff. So that is one direction. These days, it is quite fancy to use Python for machine learning applications. So some people go into that machine learning domain. And even in this course, you have been introduced to various aspects. Let's say audio analysis, file handling, working with images, and working with arrays. All these kind of things you have been given a flavor of. So it depends on what you want to do later in your life, like what kind of stuff you want to do. You can do different kinds of data analysis. For example, right now, since I am a sports fan, I'm interested in sports, particularly I like football quite a lot. So right now I am taking a course on football analytics with Python. So analyzing data for football with Python. So it depends on what you want to do. So there is not like one specific thing that I would suggest you to take after this course, but it depends on what exactly you want to do. So another introductory course, maybe a little bit beyond introductory as well, if I would say, is on Coursera. This is by Rice University. So these are the two courses in Python that I suggest to anyone and everyone. First one is this NPTEL course by IIT Ropar that you are all doing. And another course is on Coursera by Rice University. It's also called Introduction to Python Programming or something like that. But if you go to Coursera, if you type programming Python Rice University, you will get that course. So that course also helps you build games in Python. So you can make like single player, multiplayer games in Python. That is the aim of that course. So it's quite a fun course, means you learn a lot of concepts by building games. So these are the two courses that I recommend. Other than that, it depends on what your interests are. So Elango, if you could just tell me exactly what your interests are, then maybe I could tell you better. But if you have nothing particular in mind, then you can check out this Rice University course on Coursera. That is also a very generic kind of course, and you will have a lot of fun doing that course as well. Okay, moving forward. Okay, some people are asking C programming related. So for C programming, okay, I have not learned C. I have learned C++. So there's a difference between C and C++. So C++ is much more modern. So I would suggest that if you are looking at C related, then you look at C++ and not C as such. So okay, fine. Let me write down some of the stuff, some of the resources that I have used in my programming journey in the chat box. So the first course that I recommend to anyone is this course that you are all doing, NPTEL IIT Ropar, this course. Then the second course that I recommend is on Coursera. This is by Rice University. And for us, then there is an app which is quite good. I like this app quite a lot. This is called Solo Learn app. So what is the benefit of having like learning programming from an app is that, let's say you are traveling by metro or by bus or in train or in plane, in flight, like, or you're just traveling by car going from one place to the other, and you have nothing to do during that travel journey, then instead of randomly scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and stuff like that, what you can do is scroll through this Solo Learn app. So this is an app in which it introduces concepts of various programming languages, not just Python. It has Python, C++, Java, HTML, CSS, you name it. It has like a lot of programming languages, and it divides concepts into like small snippets. So it introduces each concept, let's say for loop. Then it has like some flashcards for loops, then some basic questions on for loops, then some example problems on for loops, and then it has its own code playground, as it calls it, where you can type some simple code using your mobile phone's trackpad and test the code immediately there and then. So it is good for just revising some concepts or learning some new concepts in a new programming language. The other thing for C++, which I recommend, is this Code with Harry YouTube channel. So this is a YouTube channel, Code with Harry, and not just C++. I think it teaches HTML, CSS as well, Java and stuff like that. So this is also a nice channel, Code with Harry. This channel is in Hindi. I believe most of the videos are in Hindi. So if you are more comfortable with learning things in Hindi, then that would be the YouTube channel to go. So these are some of the few basic resources that almost anyone and everyone can make use of and learn from it. So yeah, these are my personal favorites. Other people can have different books, different courses. The other thing, there is one book called this series of books, Numerical Recipes. Okay, Numerical Recipes. So this is more theoretical kind of book. So it teaches you various algorithms, and it's more like a numerical analysis kind of a book, and it comes for different languages. Numerical recipes in C++, numerical recipes in, I think, Python also. So it's for different languages. It's a series of books, and it's called Numerical Recipes in whatever is that language. So it's like a thick book. It's a series of books for different languages, but the idea is the same, to introduce you to various numerical analysis algorithms. So for example, in this course you learned about sorting, right? And you learned like one method of sorting, and then after that you learned, I think, bubble sort. After that you used the built-in function l.sort, and it sorts it. But this book, these Numerical Recipes, it will tell you different kinds of sorting algorithms. So quick sort, selection sort, merge sort, bubble sort, all these kind of things. So that's one book, very standard book, which you can have a look at, Numerical Recipes. Yeah, so Kavya is asking, suggest books for core Python. So wherever you mean any kind of starting point for some book, I would suggest this Numerical Recipes book. This is good. There is another numerical analysis book by Timothy Sawyer. So I forget the name of the book, but this is the author. I think I'm writing the spelling correct. So it's called Numerical Analysis or something. And it's quite a fancy book. I like it. By Timothy Sawyer. And you can check out. I think I got the spellings right. But if you search in Google this spelling and numerical analysis, even if the spelling is wrong, Google is fantastic. It will correct it for you and give you the correct book. So this Timothy Sawyer is an author. It has numerical analysis. So when you are typically for these algorithms and this kind of stuff, you would have a look at these books. So yeah, these 6 suggestions are from me, and then you can try on different other things. But I think these 6 points, 6 items would be a good starting point for programming. And finally, the best way is keep programming. And by that I mean practicing. So this is the only way you get better at programming, okay? No matter how many books you read, 10,000 books you would have read, 20,000 courses you would have enrolled into, you will not get better at programming until and unless you write the piece of code. So here also, see, we have so many MCQ questions. So if you just look at the MCQ questions and just select some answer by some elimination process, guesswork, hit and trial, stuff like that, and if you do not actually write the piece of code yourself and try to understand it, then it's of no good. So that's why every time we see a programming question, that's why I go to Spider and write the piece of code and show it to you and demonstrate it to you, because that is the only way to get better at programming. So yeah, keep programming. Okay, so let's move forward. So this question is on file handling, about text files. Let me relaunch the board. So we have a file named file.txt, and then this is the piece of code. Please select the correct output. Okay, so let me stop the board. The correct option, as quite a lot of you selected, is option B. It throws an error in the end as the file is not opened in writable mode. So when you open a file with this R, so this is a read mode. So in this, you can only read the file. You can only read the file and this statement will be fine, but you cannot write this. This writing is not possible if you open the file in a read mode. You need to open it in the write mode if you want to write something in the file. So that's why this throws an error. Okay, next question. What is the correct code for a function to return the sum of elements of list L? So we have a list L and we want to write a piece of code which adds all the elements in the list L and prints that sum. Basically returns that sum. Okay. Ravali is asking, please explain once again. So Ravali, which question you want to be explained once again?
Previous question, ma'am.
The file handling question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So Ravali, you can open any text file in 3 modes. Either the read mode or the write mode or the read write both modes. Okay. So if you open a file in the read mode meaning you have this R written over here. So that means this file is being opened in the read mode. So if you are opening a file in the read mode, then it can only read contents from the file. It cannot write any content to the file. If you want to open in the write mode, so write mode would be by this W. Okay. So if you want to use this command file.write, then you need to open the file in the write mode. Then only it will write this content to the file. If you want to open both in read write, then I think it's called RW. I am forgetting, but I think this is the command. You can check it. So these are the different ways you can open files. So if you're opening in the read mode, it can only read. If you open in the write mode, then it will write. So is it clear now?
What is the difference between R plus and W plus modes?
Okay, so I think I'm a little bit, I don't use file handling so much. So let me just check once in my notes. So yeah, there are different modes in which you can open files, and you need to be careful as to which mode you are using. Okay, so there is another mode called R plus. This is also one mode, and apart from this, there is this W plus. So both these are similar. Okay, this, and there is another mode called A. This is append. So let me write it here. Okay, this is append. Append means you can only add at the end of the file. You cannot overwrite the file. You cannot change the content which is there previously. Append means at the end of it. So R plus is for both read and write, and similarly W plus is also for both read write. Means you can write also and read also. So both of them essentially do the same tasks. Not much of a difference. The difference is that if you here it will kind of overwrite the stuff that is existing. So if you do W plus mode, then it will overwrite the previous stuff that is there. And if the file does not exist, then it will create a file with that name, and then it will write the stuff that you want into that file, and then it can also read the stuff that you just wrote into that file. So these are the different modes that you can access.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. And if you open it in R plus mode, then if the file does not exist, it will throw error. But if you open in W plus mode and if the file does not exist, then it will create a file by that name. But in R plus mode, it will not create a file by that name. So if the file does not exist, it will throw a bunch of error at you. Okay, so that was about file handling. Now coming back to this question. Why we got error there? So Ravali, you still have some question?
Yes, ma'am.
So Ravali, what is the question? Ravali?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't understand why you selected that option, ma'am. Once you explained.
Yeah, so that's what I said. You are opening the file in the read mode and then you are trying to write something into the file. This is not allowed. If you open the file in read mode, then you cannot write into that file.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, that is the thing.
For writing purpose, we should again open write mode.
Yes,
shall I, ma'am?
for writing purpose, you have to use this W, write mode.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so I think I have given too much time for this poll. Let me stop this poll. So the correct option in this, most of you selected correctly, is option A. So let us write it in Python.
Radhika,
Yes.
A and C also is similar, no? C.
No, C. The difference in C is it takes no argument.
Oh, okay.
So if you do not put in
D, what about D?
if you do not put in any argument, then it will not do the thing for you. It
No,
will,
actually, I feel when you give length of L, no, the problem is it will take only the number. Like last list will be some 10 numbers are there. When you put length of L as 10, in range if you give 10, only 10, then you will take only the first 9 numbers.
no.
Right?
So
0,
see,
1.
let's say we have this list. Okay, let's say we have 5, 3, or 10, 4, and 1. Okay, this is my list. What is my
Now,
len of L?
5.
5. Great. Now if I do range of
Okay.
len of L,
Okay.
then you get what? You get 0, 1, 2, 3,
3,
and 4.
Okay,
And
anyway,
these are
the
the
list
indices.
also. Okay.
Yeah. So it is a very common query that you are asking actually. So this is a mistake that all of us make. So even I at times little bit need to spend a few seconds fixing the indexing. So when we are working with big pieces of code and there are lots of things here and there, one needs to be very clear and particular about this indexing. So always this indexing starts from 0. One needs to remember that, and one needs to be very it's not a very complicated concept, very simple concept, but you need to spend a few seconds every time to make sure that you get this indexing thing right.
And one more thing I want to know is D also how it is different from A.
Okay, let me check what is the thing with D. Sum of list L. Did I copy the question wrong or something? Let me see. No, see here this problem
Here
is there.
also. Okay,
It
L
is
not.
not see this function takes an argument L,
Okay.
but it is not giving that argument L. Okay, that's the problem here.
Yes.
So you need to be careful about these things. Okay, so let me write this. in Python. So this question basically revises the concept of writing user defined functions. So this def that we write, this is used for defining a function by the user. So we have seen many built-in functions, like print is a built-in function. For that we don't need to define something, but for any user defined functions we use this def command.
For I in range.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks. So here, there is a shorthand notation for writing this. I will write it in the comments. You can, instead of writing total equal to total plus li, you can simply write total plus equal to L of I. Okay, so this is a shorthand notation that you can use. This comes in handy when you have like really long variable names. Okay, so this is done. Let us run it. The answer is 55, which is correct, because this list is a list of first 10 natural numbers, and sum of first n natural numbers is given by n into n plus 1, and this entire thing divided by 2. So n over here is 10. So 10 into 10 plus 1. So that means 10 into 11 divided by 2. So that is 55. So this is giving the correct output. Okay, so since we were discussing what was wrong with the other options, what is wrong with option B is that it lacks the return statement. This return statement is not there in option B. You need to return this value, only then it is of any good. Because here we are storing it in this variable. So if it does not return anything, then how can we store in that variables? So that's why this option is wrong. It does not return. Option C is wrong because it's not taking any argument here, but you are passing an argument when calling that function. Option D is wrong because the function takes an argument, but you are not calling it with any argument. So these are the mistakes in options B, C, and D, and that's why A is correct. Okay, so we can move forward. Okay, someone is asking a question. When will the hall ticket be declared? Okay, so I'm sorry, I do not have much idea about this hall ticket. You could ask in the discussion forum of the course, and the NPTEL authorities will get back to you. Another question is, what is the difference between print and return? What is the purpose of using return instead of print? Okay, very good question. So when you use the return statement, okay, what it does is it returns the value of that variable from that function, and then you can store it in that function. So what we are doing is we are returning total, and then we are storing that in this total underscore sum. Now, if I had written just, let's say, print here, instead of return total, if I just wrote print total, it will print 55 as we expect. But the benefit of using return statement in this case is, let's say we return this total and then we are saving it in this total underscore sum. Now I can do any kind of arithmetic operations with this total sum. So I can say new value is equal to total underscore sum to the power 2. This I can do. So to the power is done by this star star. Or I can do any kind of arithmetic operations. Let's say into 2 divided by 5 or add it into something else. All these kind of arithmetic operations are possible if I return the variable and store it in a new variable. But if I just do print statement, then I do not have access to that variable. And then I will not be able to do this thing. Then I will have to write like 10,000 print statements here itself if I want 10,000 arithmetic operations to be performed. So, and then each time I want to modify something, I would have to write a print statement. So that is not really a nice way. And return statement is basically used to store the value in a given variable. So that's the aim of return. Print is, it will just print that. It will not store it anywhere in a new variable. Whatever is stored already in that variable, it will print it, but it will not store it in a new variable. So typically when you are writing functions, user defined functions, typically it is a good practice to return the variables, because that way you will have access to that value forever and you can do whatever you want with that value. So yeah, okay. So we can proceed. Let me relaunch the poll. So we have another question on file handling. So this time we have an empty file called file.txt. Okay, so take a few more seconds to answer. Okay, so let me stop the poll. So the correct option is option C. Hey there, writing this file again. So what is happening is we have an empty file named file.txt and then it is opening this file in the write mode this time. Okay, since it is opening in the write mode, this W means This means write mode. So it will write this hey there in the file. After that, we are closing the file and then we are opening the file again, this time in append mode. Append mode means it will add all these content to the end of the file. So the file already contains this hey there. It will add writing this file again at the end of it. That is after hey there. Then what we are doing is we are opening the file in the read mode this time. Read mode. So this is now in the read mode. So it will read the file and it will print the contents of the file. So what are the contents of the file? First, it is hey there because that is what we wrote. And then we appended writing this file again.
ஒருவேளை சமையல் பண்ணுங்க ஒருவேளை ஃபுல்லா தோசை ஊற்றுவீங்க எல்லாம் பண்ணுவீங்க குக்கிங் ஏதாவது பண்ணுவீங்க அப்பப்ப
So yeah, if people don't have any queries, please keep yourselves on mute. So this is what is happening. So first we open in write mode, then we write this hey there, then we open in append mode and we append writing this file again, and then we open in read mode and print the contents of the file. So this question would basically clarify almost all of your doubts on file handling. So previously people were asking questions regarding what is read mode, what is write mode, what happens if you open something in read mode and write to it, or open in write mode and read something. So this question basically tells you how you would proceed if you want to write and read the contents. So first you open in write mode, you write the contents. If you want to append, means add new content to the file without erasing the previous content, then you open in append mode. And if you want to read the contents, you open in the read mode. This is what this question does. Then we have another question on file handling. Let me restart the poll. Okay, so let me stop the poll. So the correct option is option A. Now let me write it in Python. So what I will write in Python is, so at the end of these 4-5 lines, the output for L would be, L with is going to be 1, 0. How many zeros are there? There are 3 zeros. Okay, so 3 zeros. Then there are 3 ones. 3 ones. Then 1 0 and then 2 ones. So this will be your value for L. When you do this, L is equal to list. So list will convert this string into a list of each character. So using that L, I will then write this piece of code. I do not want to write into a file because then I need to give the file path and save the program, which at this point of time I don't think I want to do. So let me write this L 1, then 3 times 0, then 3 times 1, then once 0, and then twice 1. Okay, so this is L for I in range len L. So this exclamation mark means not equal. Basically, exclamation mark means not, and after that, if we have equal, then that means not equal. And then finally, print. See, what we get is alternate 1 and 0. 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. And this is happening because of these two if conditions. So we are checking if I is even, means if we are at an even index, and if at even index the element is 0, then we are changing to 1. If at odd index the element is 1, then we are changing to 0. So that's why it is even index. So first index is 0, so that means it is 1. Then odd index is 0. So at 1 it is 0. Then this third element is basically at index 2, which is even, so that is 1. Then odd, then even odd. So that's how it is alternating between 1 and 0. Okay, let me see. There are a few questions. Okay, there are so many questions. Let me see. First, Dhriti Roy is saying, can you explain again? All in capital letters. Okay, so Dhriti Roy is screaming and shouting at me to explain again. Okay, fine. Dhriti, I will explain again. Okay, let me go back. Or let me explain by writing over here in the code as itself. See, what is happening is, we are first checking if I modulo 2 equal to 0. What does this mean? I modulo 2 equal 0 means even index. Okay. For even index and if at even index the element is 0, then we are changing that element to 1. And if it is 1, then it is already 1. We do not want to change it. So what it is doing is, even for even index, we are writing the element 1 in the list. And I modulo 2 not equal 0. This means odd index. For odd index, what we are writing? We are writing the value 0. That means every even index in the list, the element is 1, and every odd index in the list, the element becomes 0. Okay? So your list is a list of how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 elements. So if you follow these rules, then what you will get? First index in the list always starts from 0. So 0, 0 is what? 0 is even. So even for even we have element 1. Then the next index is 1. 1 is what? It is odd. So what will be the value? Odd index is value 0. Then what is the next index? Is 2. 2 is what? Even. For even we have what element? We have 1. Next index is 3. 3 is what? 3 is odd. For odd index we have value 0. So on and so forth. It will continue till the end of the list.
That and condition it is not checking. No?
It will check and condition. Now and condition is, it will check, but it is essentially redundant. Why? Because what this means is, if at even, so let's say if you're looking at the first statement, it means first statement is even index, and second statement means at that even index, the element should be 0. If it is 0, then it will convert into 1. But if it is already 1, then this part will become false and it will not enter it. It will not do any change. So if it is already 1, it will remain 1.
Yeah, for L list, whatever you are seeing, no? The output is the same, but L you see 1, right? L 0, L I first one, L of I is equal to 1, right? So and condition it will check for both, and then it
Yes,
will not
but
do
if it
anything. That's what.
if it is 1, then we are not changing anything, right?
Anything. Okay.
So we are not changing anything. It remains 1 as it is.
Okay.
That is the thing. Similarly, in the second, if it is here, if it is 0, it will remain 0. We are not changing anything. Okay. So Dhriti, is this clear now? If it is clear, let me know. Then I will proceed to other queries. Okay. So let me see. A lot of questions are there.
Ma'am, your screen is not clear, ma'am.
Screen is not clear. So for that, it's clear at my end. I would suggest that you go to this YouTube channel and watch it over there. Sometimes some people face issues with connectivity inside Zoom, but in the YouTube channel everything is broadcasted from my end. So at my end the Wi-Fi is perfect, so that's why on YouTube it broadcasts as perfect. But sometimes in
okay,
Zoom
ma'am.
something happens. So
Now it's okay, ma'am. Okay.
okay. So let me see. Lot of questions. Not able to see the question. Okay, Smita also is not able to see the question. So I suggest that if some such connectivity is happening, please watch it on YouTube. Same thing is being live streamed there as well. Next question is, ma'am, what is keyword parameter and default parameter? What is exception and file handling, ma'am? Okay, so right now, maybe I will look at it at the end of this session. So this is basically you are asking about file handling and exceptions in file handling. So exception handling is important. You should basically be using exception handling. That's basically a good way to write your piece of code. Even if you don't write exception handling, it's fine, but it's always a good practice to have it. And default parameters are, let's say you write a function and you are taking some argument, but those arguments can have default values. So for example, if you do not provide any argument to that function, then it will make use of the default values. But I do not understand what keyword parameter is, so I'm really sorry about that. Next question is, hello ma'am, I was actually wondering if there was any important topics to prepare for exam that will have more weightage. If that could be shared, that will be great. Okay, so this is a course on programming, and it's not like just one concept that you need to revise. Typically, I would suggest that your loops and your lists, these two topics should be absolutely thorough. Why? Because these are the basic building blocks in programming. So three things: loop, list, and the if else condition. These are the most basic things in programming and the most widely used concepts in programming. You will use loops again and again. You would use lists again and again. And you would use if else conditions and again to check anything. And also user defined functions. Other than that, actually all the other topics are there, but these 3 or 4 topics are like really basic and you should be fluent in them. You should have it on your fingertips. Other things, let's say like file handling, it is important, but even if you are not so much fluent with it, you can always look it up and get things done. But even in file handling, we make use of loops and functions and stuff like that. So loops and lists and functions and these things are really important. This should be on your fingertips. Next question is, in question 10, with open is used to a file and no need to close it. It will automatically close. But why we use the close function? Oh, we use the close function just to be writing the piece of code which looks good, just to make sure that we are making use of that function. And yeah, basically it's just aesthetics. It's always a good practice to close the file actually. So you are opening it again, so in a different mode. First you are opening in the write mode, then you are opening in the read mode. So that's why you want to close the file in between before making the switch to a different mode. Okay, things which were there in the course like page rank, algorithm, sentiment analysis, for example, will all that be asked in the exam? Okay, so the way the assignments have been designed, every week all those fun activities, so to say, joys as the instructors call it, are introduced, and then there are questions based on them. So of course you will get a few questions based on those fun activities here and there. Yeah, that is inevitable, but I don't think there will be much weightage to it. Like you won't get like 10 questions on page rank algorithm. That is not going to happen. Maybe one question you will get. Maybe one question you will get on crowd computing. We did long time back. Maybe one question on magic square. But the major bulk of the thing is, the focus of this course is to make you fluent in programming. And these different fun activities are like two basically fun activities through which you are trying to gain proficiency in programming. The ultimate aim is to learn how to write programs. And these are different applications that the instructors have used so that you learn how to write code, and then you can use those skills to write code for your own application. So yeah, I mean, this is an exam. So when you go to an exam, you prepare almost as much as you can, but that's how it is. Okay, so I think all the chat box questions are done, so we can proceed further. Okay, I am running out on time, so it seems we will have to continue tomorrow as well. So I do have like a few minutes, 6 minutes to be precise. So we'll do as many questions as possible, and then we will meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. for continuing with the other remaining questions. Okay, so next question. Let me relaunch the poll. You have to predict the output. It's a very short piece of code, only 3 lines. Okay, let me stop the poll now. So most of you got it right. The correct option is indeed option D. Print all perfect squares with square roots between 5 and 19 divisible by 5. So let us run this. So see, this is the output we get. So we are getting the squares of all those numbers which are divisible by 5 between 5 and 20. So 5 is divisible by 5 itself, by 5 of course, and 5 square is 25. Then the next number divisible by 5 is 10, so 10 squared is 100. And then the next number divisible by 5 is 15, and 15 squared is 225. And because for the range function it stops at 1 less than the n value, so it stops at 19. It does not include 20. That's why you do not get 20 squared also as the output, and 19 is not divisible by 5. So this was very simple. Okay, another question. Ma'am, if we prepare all weekly assignment questions, is it enough? So yes, Ramesh, preparing the weekly assignment questions is a good strategy to prepare for the exam. Okay, so moving on. Okay, someone else is asking how many programming questions can we expect in exam? So as I mentioned earlier, I am not aware of the weightage. It will definitely be a mix of MCQ and programming questions, but I am not sure as to what is the weightage. So please put it up in the discussion forum. That will the NPTEL authorities will get in touch with you, and please read all the emails that you receive from NPTEL. Those will also have these details and logistical information about the exams.
Ma'am,
Yes?
ma'am, ma'am, I'm having some doubts in weekly assignments. How can I get clear, ma'am? That
Okay, so what you can do is, if you are having doubts in the weekly assignments, so as I have mentioned in earlier videos as well, you have different avenues for getting your doubts cleared. First one is the discussion forum. This is absolutely the most important and the best forum for asking your questions and getting immediate responses from the instructors themselves, as well as all the TAs that are there in the course. So I am only one of the TA. There are other TAs as well. So if you put it up on the discussion forum, then all the instructors and TAs will have a look at it, and then they will answer your query. The other place is the YouTube channel. So you can, whatever week's doubt you have, you can go to that week's YouTube video and put your query on that video as a comment, and I will have a look at it and I will try to answer it. And even your fellow students and colleagues can also respond to it. That's the second way. And the third way is, you can send me an email at the following email ID. You can send email to me as well. So these are your three avenues for asking, getting your doubts cleared, and you should use it in this particular order itself. So don't just don't start by emailing me and then putting in the discussion forum. First put in the discussion forum, that is the most important. Then on the YouTube channel, and then you can send me an email as well.
okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So madam, programming exam is not there this time, unlike last semester. Is that a question? Is that a statement? I don't understand. Okay. Anyway, NPTEL team will get in touch with you for all these details. I'm sorry, Hari Krishna, I did not understand whether you are asking a question or whether you are making a statement. Okay, so let us proceed. We will stop at question number 12 for today, and we will look at the remaining 12-13 questions that are there tomorrow. So this is the question. What will be the output of the following code? Let me start the poll. So I will stop at question number 13. So we have 26 questions. So if I stop at 13, that will be exactly midway. And then we can do remaining 13 questions tomorrow. Okay, let me stop the poll. So the correct option is option C. a square of size n with upper and lower case alphabets. Some people selected option A, a magic square. So to them, let me remind, a magic square. So magic square is with numbers. It is not with alphabets. You have magic squares with numbers. Here you have alphabets. So it cannot be a magic square. It can only be a square with alphabets. So let me write this in Python. So we will import string as well as random. So string is that library or module which contains these letters or alphabets. So letters contains both capital as well as small. If you want to use lowercase, uppercase, then you have to write uppercase or lowercase. So random dot choice basically selects an element from the list. So this end equal to, by now you would be familiar, is for formatting. So if I just write end equal to space, then it will put space between different elements. Here I have written \t. So this will put tab between each element. So a tab is basically 4 spaces. So it will put 4 spaces between each element. Oh, I need to, fine, this is done. Let me enter int input. So 3. So we have 3 cross 3 square with random alphabets, and see, it's a mix of both uppercase and lowercase. So if I print A here, then you see that it is a list of lowercase as well as uppercase. Okay. So it will select both. If I want only lowercase, then you have to do ASCII underscore lowercase. Then see, it is only for lowercase. If I want uppercase, then I have to do, now if I print A, then see, it is all lowercase. If I want uppercase, then I have to do ASCII underscore uppercase. Okay, now it will be all uppercase. And see, all random alphabets are there. The previous alphabet and the current alphabets, they are different, and it's all uppercase now. If I print A, see, it is all uppercase alphabets. So that is all for today. We will continue tomorrow. Let me see, there are a lot of questions in the chat box. Madam, is programming exam not there this time? Oh, programming is there. You will have programming questions. So that's the thing. You will indeed have programming questions. One more question I want to discuss before stopping. So we will stop at question number 13 because that is exactly midway. What is the correct code to display whether the entered year is a leap year or not? So let me start the poll. So this is the last question for today. Everyone please try to answer. Okay, let me stop the poll. The correct option is none of the above. Okay. The correct way to write it would be if year modulo 100 is 0, that means century year. So for century year, it has to be divisible by 400. Or if it is not a century year, so if it is not a century year, then it needs to be divisible by 4. Then it will be a leap year. So this is the correct if condition. Okay, so instead of this if condition over here, this should be the if condition. This is an incorrect option in this. Most of you selected A, but A is incorrect. Because what will happen with A is that if I enter the year 100, okay, so 100 is a century year, but 100 is not divisible by 400, so 100 is not a leap year. But if I enter 100, it will print a leap year. Why? Because of this statement. This comes in OR. So if year modulo 400 equal to 0 or year modulo 4 equal to 0, and 100 divided by 4 is definitely giving you a remainder of 0. So it will print 100 also as a leap year, which is not correct. So that's why you have to have this set of if condition. Okay, so that is all for today. And this is only 50%. We have 13 more questions and we will discuss those remaining 13 questions tomorrow again at 3 p.m. So thank you, Ravali, for your kind feedback. I really appreciate that. And yes, I will try to basically do my best to explain all your all the concepts that I can explain and try to clarify all of your queries to the best of my capabilities. That is my attempt. And once again, for those of you who joined late, here is the link to the YouTube channel. And you can go ahead on that YouTube channel and watch the previous sessions videos as well. And for now, that's all I want to say. And we meet tomorrow again at 3 p.m. to start from question number 14 up until question number 26. So Bye bye. See you all tomorrow.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye. So yes, today's class is over. All of you can leave.